Welcome to BCN's new series, What's Happening Now, a collection of informational and hopefully entertaining programming where we substantively speak to interesting and important people. And today we're meeting with Hood Richardson, Commissioner Hood Richardson. This is called the meeting after the meeting. It's a subset of What's Happening Now. Hood and I get together after each meeting and we discuss what happened the night before. Now it's going to be a little bit skewed. Hood's going to give his opinion. And if you're not a conservative or close to a conservative, you might want to leave the room right now. Hood's going to tell us how he really feels, and I'm going to join in and try to lead the conversation. Hood, a lot of what we talked about on Tuesday night, we did not meet Monday night. We met Tuesday night because of Labor Day, and so we met on the first day of the month on Tuesday night. And we met Tuesday night, and we spoke about solid waste, trash. Mm-hmm. This is a big issue for you because you know it's a big issue for the county. It's an area where the county spends a lot of money. It is one of those services that we provide, that we should provide and need to provide, and we need to provide it as efficiently as possible. So, Hood, would you speak to the trash situation?
Well, for the 24 years that I've been a commissioner, we've really done nothing about modernizing or our procedures or modernizing our roll-offs for trash. And trash has become a trashy subject in Beaufort County because it's becoming more and more apparent that this Board of Commissioners, taken as a whole, does not want to do anything about the situation with the roll-offs. And that is to improve them, to make them more safe, and to eliminate some of the really bulk and the great expense that goes with trash. What you have to keep in mind is when this program started, it was municipal solid waste. And what municipal solid waste is your household trash, what you generate in home. And we now take construction debris into these sites and a whole bunch of other things. And we need some whole lot better management. And that management comes from the county because we lease these sites from, some of them, from GDS, but we pay GDS to do the work. So who's the boss? The county commissioners are supposed to be the boss. And one of the things that's happened lately is Stan was chairman of a solid waste committee. And that, no bad respect to Stan, but that sort of went cross country because John Rebholz and Frankie took hold of it and they started negotiating with GDS for a pickup of trash at every household in Beaufort County. Well, how much do you think that's going to cost without bringing the rest of the commissioners into it? So with Stan's help, we've managed to shut down that particular committee because it was a rogue committee. It was doing backroom deals. Before we could shut them down, they ran an ad that's required by the general statutes for the county to monopolize trash pickup in Beaufort County and put 3 companies out of business that are currently picking up trash for a fee. And that ad was run without a vote of Stan's committee, which Stan got the minutes, and he was upset about that. And then when the ad was ran, it was ran without the commissioners actually voting to run the ad. And what the statute says is once the ad's run with a vote of 4 commissioners, we can give the contract to anybody that we want to for trash pickup in Beaufort County and charge you by adding the cost to your tax bill. So you could lose your house over trash pickup. This doesn't make a lick of sense. It was not discussed. Proof that it's a backroom deal is, do you think that ad would ever have been run without having 4 votes in their pocket to run it?
Probably not. And if I could qualify, being chairman of the committee and also being one of the people who disbanded the committee, I'd like to speak to that for just a moment. Got accused of a backroom deal, but Frankie Waters at the last meeting accused Hood of having a backroom deal, had a first and a second. And I think he was thinking I seconded disbanding committee. It was Ed Booth who did it. So yes. I guess he figures that Ed was in league with Hood. But the reason specifically, I thought it best to get rid of the solid waste committee, which maybe we could have done some good, and some of us tried to. But the whole idea of having committees is alien to me. I feel that Beaufort County government should be run by the commissioners, and that we should bring all issues before all the commissioners and let all the commissioners decide in open debate with the cameras running. That is an open meeting. Open meetings are important for good government. at state and at the local level and at the federal level. People need to see what's going on. And you spoke to me getting the minutes. I was also concerned at that same meeting that the minutes suggested, as per our engineer, that I was in favor of ending recycling, and a vote was taken. I could not find the minutes where that vote was taken to end recycling, which is an issue for me. We'll probably speak to that again today, later on. But now I digress. Hood, back to you.
Well, one of the things that's going on with trash in Beaufort County is that Frankie Waters seems to be the king of trash. Frankie's visiting all the sites now. The sites are run by GDS and GDS employees. These are not county employees. And Frankie's out taking in all kinds of rumors about what's going on and telling us that the rumor was they were going to shut down. The only place that could have come from was the boys in the back room. Frankie's one of the boys in the back room. So this thing.
You have long accused him and they of such.
Yeah, and Frankie has the gall, as Stan alluded to accuse me and Stan and me and Ed Booth of doing a backroom deal. Well, you can't do a backroom deal unless you got 4 votes. You have to have the majority of the commissioners to do a backroom deal. Frankie has done plenty of backroom deals. He doesn't mind slinging trash around. So Frankie's part of the trash problem in Beaufort County because he's out talking to people, telling them that he's going to allow them to continue to dump and for all of the people in the county to pay for construction debris because how much construction debris do you have at your home? There are very few people who have construction debris at their home, but when you have it, there's a lot of tonnage that goes with it. So everybody else in the county is paying for the removal of construction debris. Our intention to begin was that this be hauled to a site and weighed and the contractor to pay for it, rather than the household owners to pay for it. So there's a lot going on with this. I'm hoping, when I made my motion to dissolve, when the commissioners met as a group and refused to do anything that would improve the situation with trash pickup.
Once again, we can't do anything unless we get a full vote of the commissioners.
That's right.
There's no reason to have these meetings with these committees where they are held in public, but the public generally is not there and they are not televised.
That's right.
Unless the commissioners go along with it.
And we had 6 commissioners sitting there, and we talked generally about what to do about it and thought we were all in agreement, and I made a motion that would resolve one of these problems. Stan and I found out right away with 6 commissioners sitting there, Langley was absent, that we had a vote of 4-2 against us. That became real apparent that the board, the 4 other commissioners, John Rebholz, Frankie, Evans, and Booth, didn't intend to do anything about trash other than to sit there and talk and talk and talk, which we've done for the 24 years that I've been a commissioner. That's why I made the motion to disband the committee. And I threw into that motion the fact that in 2 months we've got an election. So for the public benefit, if you want to see something done that's going to help you with trash, lower your cost and give you more convenience and safety, then you need to vote right in the election that's coming up in November, because this is not going to change until you change commissioners. If you want to change government, change the people that are running government. And the people that are running this government don't intend to do anything to help you, but they intend to let their buddies continue to dump a lot of heavy stuff and put it through the trash system. So, again, you talk to Frankie. Frankie is the trash king in Beaufort County.
I'd like to mention one thing, too, in response to what Hood has said. Backroom deals. Hood and I are just 2 commissioners. Hood was by himself. Now he's got me backing on most issues. And sometimes, even if I do not wholly believe in what Hood's doing, I will second it just to see how far it goes. I like to hear him talk. He always has good ideas if you put him on the spot. Now, one of the things about Hood and I, the most we talk outside of these meetings is like when we meet right here, right now, doing this. This is total spontaneity. We do not set up what we're going to talk about. We're just having a conversation. I don't get to talk to Hood much because he works all the time. Hood doesn't get to talk to me that much because I work all the time. There's not a whole lot of times that we can sit around and just hash out how we're supposed to run the county. We believe that the county would be best run if we had a majority of commissioners who felt the same way, that they believe a limited government where taxes can go down should we work smartly, and be prudent in the management of the people's money. Hood believes that needs to be done out in the open. I believe it needs to be done out in the open. A little side comment here. Hood and I were responsible for getting the meetings televised over 2 decades ago.
That's right.
100%. We pulled money out of our pockets, and Hood had a club called the Conservative Men's Club. He's always been the president of it. And we were the group that initiated filming the meetings, hired Randy Walker, and we did it as a private concern. We virtue shamed the other commissioners after about 3 or 4 years, and then the county picked up and the production values increased dramatically. We still believe in open meetings being filmed. The quality has dropped since we have fixed cameras now, and it's hard to edit properly if you don't have the right shot to begin with, which we don't have. But we're doing the best we can, and you can see the meetings enhanced in technical quality on Beaufort County Now. So please come to Beaufort County Now, click in, and you can hook it up to your TV, cast to your TV, or just hook an HDMI cord from your computer to your TV if you can't cast. And you can get the meetings, and they will be as high quality as you're going to get. But Hood, I will digress again. It was a crazy meeting. Not a lot was done, but it was a long meeting. It went on and on and on because we were talking about some issues we probably should talk about at budget time. We're going to come back in just a minute, and we will talk about that. Thank you. When we left, we were talking about filming the meetings and how these meetings can become quite important and what the citizens of Beaufort County need to know and need to see in order to make decisions on elections. We talked about the quality of the filming, which is very important. I get a lot of complaints. I don't get as many complaints about trash as Frankie does, but I get a lot of complaints about the quality of the filming of the meetings. And the complaint is, and I'd like for people to come to Beaufort County Now and witness it there, but a lot of people still see it on Suddenlink. Because their TV's hooked into it. It's the way they like. They've always done it that way. And the quality just isn't there. It's not there because we use a fixed camera system. And they're mixing it as good as they can. They have some fine equipment to do so. But the way it was done in the past is we had multi-cameras and we could zoom in and the graphics were used. It was a fine system, and it was done by Randy Walker, who is running for commissioner right now. Hood, would you speak to that, since you, like myself, were integral in getting the filming done in Beaufort County decades ago?
You're right, Stan. To you and I both, the filming of these meetings was really important because what started it was you'd read the newspaper and you'd say, I didn't go to that meeting.
The original fake news.
The original fake news. I didn't go to that meeting. I wasn't there. And that's why we decided to start filming so the public could see what was going on. I'm reluctant to make campaign promises, but I'm going to make a campaign promise. If we can elect Hood Richardson, Tandy Dunn, and Randy Walker this fall, you are going to have a much better filming of the commissioners' meetings. You'll have something that you will enjoy watching. We'll go back to the close-ups. We'll have a better video, audio, and a better video, and we'll use multiple cameras. So that's a campaign promise. Tandy Dunn, Hood Richardson, and Randy Walker, and we will fix the filming of county commissioners.
And we found in the past, it really didn't cost that much money to give a quality product to the people of Beaufort County so they could have open government right in their living room. It's not going to cost us much, and especially with equipment we have now. We could effect maybe an even better production. However, we could have done it without the equipment we spent $140,000 for.
That's right.
That was a deal put together in the back room, as you say. I wasn't a commissioner then, but that was put together in the back room to get rid of a monster. We had a monster on the set, and it was Hood Richardson. There was some talk around town. We had to get rid of the monster to justify going with all that money to get a lesser product.
That's right. We spent $140,000 to get a lesser quality product than we were getting for $25,000 a year. And the $140,000 was just for capital equipment. When Randy was filming it, he provided his own equipment.
Yeah.
So talk about commissioners that can't count money. Look at what you've got. That's why we need to change.
Hood Richardson may be a monster, but he's our monster. And he's going to talk about right now what we can do to keep items in budget and not have them come before us days, weeks, months after budget. And we've got to spend more money on this, spend more money on that, more money than we budgeted, more money than you were part of. If you came to the budget hearings and the workshops and understand that we have a budget ordinance, and then we go above that or sideways, there's ways to work the numbers. But Hood, would you speak to that?
Well, the jail is a great example of something that could have been fixed for $200,000. That's now into $2.5 million of wasted and thrown away money. We need, as Stan has mentioned before, we need to bring more items and more issues to the commissioners for discussion. For instance, have you seen the really fancy cars and vehicles that the county is buying now? One of the reasons that's happened is up until about 4 or 5 years ago, all of the purchases of a vehicle, didn't matter who it was for or what it was for, had to come before the commissioners. And the question was always the same: how basic of a vehicle are we purchasing? We just want basic vehicles. We don't want fancy vehicles. Well, that has been taken away by the new group that was in there. And the staff now decides what to purchase. Well, what do you think I'm going to purchase if I'm the staff? I want a Cadillac. Well, if I'm a commissioner or you're paying the taxes, you want a basic vehicle that the person can do their job with without all of the frills. That's not happening right now. One of the things that will happen if we elect Tandy Dunn, Hood Richardson, and Randy Walker is we'll be back to you can't purchase a vehicle without it coming before the commissioners, even if it is in the budget. And we'll be asking, what are you buying and how basic it is? And we always did some research on those things before to make sure that we were buying basic vehicles. We're not doing that anymore. This is one example of why more things, as Stan has referred to, need to be discussed in front of the commissioners. If you look at our commissioner meetings now, they're a whirlwind. They expect us to go in and vote, and leave. They don't want to discuss issues like trash and how we can go about reducing the volume and what rules need to be changed. These guys want to leave this up to the staff and to whoever is in the back room, the guy behind the curtain that's directing things. So we've got some really big changes to make with the election this fall that the public is going to benefit from. Taxes keep going up. There's no reason that we can't reduce taxes. There's no reason whatsoever. We have wasted, we're wasted at least $2 million a year if you take the average of the sheriff's office, and that's never questioned. We're not supposed to question it. You're a bad person if you question spending because staff has decided what to do. No, we're going back to the old way that Stan is talking about. And meetings may last until 11 o'clock.
They used to.
It's the public's business, and it's the public's money, and the public deserves a lot better than what they're getting out of this Board of County Commissioners.
Yeah, I don't mind staying late for a commissioner meeting. The business needs to be done. And instead of having committees where you did the business, you worked it all out with 3 commissioners, with the staff, then you come now before all the commissioners, and then it's brought to them, and some of the commissioners will use that as an excuse to go along with the committee, and if there's a problem later on, they blame it on the committee rather than themselves. A lot of times, politicians will pass the buck. It's what they do. And Hood and I feel like it's better not to pass the buck, and the commissioners should speak to these issues, make the decisions in open so that everyone knows who said what, who did what, and why they did it. Now, Hood, we were asked once again to pay sheriff's people more money outside of the budget. You had some problems. We went along with it. we both agreed that we don't need a sheriff that has his own tech department, his own IT staff. We're a small county. We're a county of 47,000 people. We have an IT department in Beaufort County now. It's run well. There's 1.5 employees there. I would say 1.5 because one of the employees does a lot of work for the Department of Social Services. So that's how we do it in Beaufort County. If we needed to increase that staff a little bit more, maybe have 2 people working in our IT department to handle the sheriff's business, and they can be on call anytime, we could do that. But right now, we're finding we're going to be spending over $130,000 a year for the sheriff to have an ID department, so he can have his own website, and so that everything can be done in-house rather than done by our county IT department. Now, if we had a majority of commissioners, that would end. Sheriff does not decide how the IT is done. He doesn't even get to have his own website unless it is allowed him to do so. We have a website. We have a great website in Beaufort County. It's the best it's ever been. And that website would allow the sheriff to have all the space he wants, and it could be just like he wants it within reason, providing it is technologically superior to what he has now, which is not that good. Kind of bad website. They spent $130,000 on tech. People, I don't understand that. I really don't. This is what I do. Put together websites, and I can be a little bit critical here and be right. Hood, so what are some of the other issues that went on?
Let me elaborate on that as an example. This is a great example of something that should be put on the table and discussed at a county commissioners meeting, and that is how do we provide tech services? Because the sheriff came in and they voted to have another employee, another tech guy. He's got one tech guy now, which is Joseph Knox. Well, they gave Joseph Knox a 10% raise, bumped him up in addition to that, and then they hire another employee because the sheriff says he has so many technical problems, but the sheriff cannot describe what this tech guy is going to do in a day's time. This and the effort when Stan tries to bring it up is he's shut down. They try to shut it down as quick as they can. This board does not want to discuss the problems of the county. They just want to raise taxes and give everybody all the money they want. There's tremendous inefficiencies in county government, and they need to be taken up by the Board of County Commissioners, not by a few guys in the back room.
What you hear is from some of these commissioners, we're not here to micromanage. Well, I don't think even Hood and I micromanage. What we do is we set policy, and we give oversight. We offer oversight. I mean, we demand oversight, and we watch what's going on, and then we budget. You decide how much money you're going to spend at budget time. You effect policy that's going to keep the county on a prudent path, and then you provide oversight, and you keep a good eye on them. We're not doing any of that in Beaufort County right now, are we?
That's right. Oversight is non-existent.
Well, we're going to take another break, and then we're going to wrap this up. When we left, we were talking about micromanaging the county versus actually just managing the county, which is what commissioners are supposed to do through policy and oversight. Hood, talk to us a little bit about what's going on, and not only with the jail, but the courts, anything that is in that sphere which you have paid close attention to for decades. I want the public to know, if you're not aware of this, Hood is very responsible for getting people out of the jail by pushing them through, working very closely with the district attorney. And the district attorney and Hood are doing a great job moving people through the system. Hood wants them gone. It's good for them. I mean, the Constitution guarantees that everybody's going to have a free and fair election. Did I say that right? But it needs to be timely as well. And Hood has done his part to make sure to save the county money. And it's really to the benefit of the public as well. But talk to us about
Well, one of the great things that really happened with the $2.5 million that we spent for the jail, if there's anything good with that, is that our jail is up to standard. It's clean. It meets all the standards. Everything's been repaired. Everything's working properly. The controls are all new. In essence, we've got a new jail. But we've got people that are still out trying to promote building a new jail. The other thing that's happened as far as building a new jail goes is we've halved the participants. Well, almost half. We got like 48 or 49 people incarcerated in Beaufort County. Up until COVID, we were having like 80, 85 people COVID, and we were paying them to keep people out of the county. Well, with COVID, because the court system was essentially shut down, they had to find different ways to go about trying people and getting things done. So plea bargains became really important if you wanted to get out of jail rather than sitting here for the COVID. Nobody knows how long that's going to last. So to the DA's credit, he came up with some innovative ways to go ahead and get people sentenced and to get their case tried and to get it out of the way. But the wonderful thing is, when they took out all the people that didn't need to be in jail, we're down to less than 50 people in jail. So we're permitted for 87 people. So somebody please explain to me why we need a new jail.
Yes,
but that hasn't gone away. The people that wanted a new jail are still working hard at it. One of them is Judge Sermons, and I hate to criticize Judge Sermons. He's a Superior Court judge, and I could get locked up. But he wrote an order allowing the jail to be reopened, which he was supposed to do because somebody in the county, we don't know who, is consorting with Judge Sermons to get a new jail. And we know this because when the jail was shut down a year and a half ago in January of 2019, suddenly an order appeared from the judge. And I've asked in meeting after meeting, who is it that gave the information to the judge, that went to the judge and got the jail shut down? And that should be something that nobody would mind answering because it's real easy to say we had an emergency situation in the jail and we did this and I'm the person that went and talked. But none of the people, the county manager, the sheriff, or any of the people will say, gee, the judge and I are together and we locked at the hip on this thing. Proof that the judge is locked at the hip on this comes with the order that I have in my hand that he produced a couple of weeks ago in order to be able to reopen the jail. And he says, egregious things are said in this order. Like he says, the court also finds that the jail facility appears to continue to violate state jail standards by the lack of smoke evacuation system. Well, that's a totally false statement because we don't have to have a smoke evacuation system because smoke evacuation systems came about in the last 15 years or so. This jail was permitted in the late 70s or early 80s. We're under those standards. We're not under smoke evacuation systems. And the reason you had smoke evacuation system is some of the jails were poorly run and they would have fires. And that's why you need a smoke evacuation system. We don't have anything in our jail that will burn but a mattress. So he's totally wrong. And it goes on to say that it appears that we are not in compliance. The facility is not in compliance. That is untrue. The 6 months jail inspections that are done by the state of North Carolina, and the department that does that says that we are in compliance. And if you look at those forms, it says across the top of the form that we're under the 1977 or 88 standards, and we're perfect under those standards. Sure, you have a commode that won't flush when they're here or something. We fix that stuff. There's nothing that's not fixable. But even more egregious is the judge decided that he's going to keep control of this. He's going to keep jurisdiction of the jail. There's no reason for Judge Sermons to keep jurisdiction of the jail. It's in compliance. So you may ask yourself, why is the judge trying to do this? Guess what? The judge wants a new jail, and he's got some people that work in county government that are in cohorts with him secretly in the back room trying to figure out a way to force us to build a new jail. Well, it's impossible for him to do that, but the public needs to be aware of what's going on because if you know what's going on, you know how to combat it. So he says he's going to have a hearing to determine the standards, whether our jail is in compliance or not. Well, that's fine. If you want to have the hearing, we already know the answer. So we asked at the last commissioners meeting, how are you going to give notice for commissioners to appear at the hearing? Says nothing in here about when he's going to have the hearing. He says nothing in here about how he's going to give notice to the public or anybody else to come for the hearing. The judge in this case is a lot like Frankie. He's out stirring a pot. And the more he stirs the pot, the more it's going to stink. We've got a jail that's in compliance with the standards. The only thing that can happen that would be really bad in the jail is for somebody to deliberately do something to make the jail look bad. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Pray not. Just a notification here. I am an old friend of Judge Sherman's. We've been friends since we were kids. We're basically the same age. Actually, I'm 4 months older than he is. And he's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. We have a lot of issues that we agree on. We probably don't agree on this whole jail issue. And one of the things that I'm going to state here, I don't think Beaufort County agrees that we need a new jail right now. Last time the jail issue came up, it went down in flames. There was no money available, even though the county commissioner spent close to $2 million without any funding in place. He spent $2 million to get consulting done, to figure out the land that could be used, plans. It was all of this got to be done. It was engineers were involved, architects were involved, and we had no funding in place. Now I'm saying planning is important, but if you don't have money to build what you're planning for, that's not good sense. And a lot of these same commissioners are still up there right now that voted for that. Hood and I were against that, weren't we?
Yes, we were against it because we knew then you didn't need a jail. We needed better management. That management came about because of the COVID. It was forced on us by the situation. But I would say this about Judge Sherman. I respect Judge Sherman in his capacity as judge. Waylon and I have always gotten along. We've always been cordial. We have done some things together. But I have to, in my capacity as a county commissioner, protecting the citizens of Beaufort County is my job from an egregious affair that could cost you $25 million for something that you don't need.
And a new jail, I can tell you right now from what I know of state government and the general statutes and the Constitution of North Carolina, the jail will be built when the people of Beaufort County want a new jail. When the people of Beaufort County do not want a new jail, it is not going to be built. That's just the way it's going to work.
One thing about electing Randy, Tandy, and Hood is that you will get a jail study committee that is actually meaningful, and the purpose of that jail study committee is to figure out how to keep people out of jail so that it saves the taxpayers money. Not everybody needs to be in jail. There are some bad people that need to be in jail. Several counties have hired people whose sole purpose is to screen inmates to see who they can get out of jail that doesn't need to be there. We're not doing that. We have no management in the area of keeping people out of jail other than what was forced on us by COVID. We need to have an active program. There are mental health cases in there. There's people whose health is so bad they're not going anywhere anyway, so why put them in jail? On and on this thing goes. It's based on it's based on zero management at the moment, and the sheriff is doing a very poor job.
Well, right now is a bad time in government and in the public's eye to put people in jail needlessly. It makes no sense. It's made no sense for Hood and myself for years. And we feel that management must be accorded to everyone, whether they should be in jail or not. Some people are bad people. They're terrible. And they need to go to jail and stay there for the required amount of time until they become better functioning citizens. And sometimes that never happens. But a lot of people are being put in jail for not paying their child support, things like that, or having an EWI, which is terrible. I mean, I hate people out on the road drinking and driving, but putting them in jail for long periods of time is just plain punishment. There's a lot of issues like that, nonviolent issues, where people don't need to be in jail. Well, it's been a great time meeting with Hood. We're going to do this again a month from now. So come back, and we're going to have some juicy government talk. And it'll all be local. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Stan.
And thank you, Hood.